So I love that, because in this age of building anything, whether it's an in-person business, brick and mortar, or online, speed is your friend. And so when you get bogged down with something that's not perfect, I mean, even for this episode here, this is kind of like our inaugural kickoff episode. I mean, like, we're just trying to be relaxed. We're just trying to get something out there to you guys. Like, eventually we'll have better backgrounds and we'll have better, gear
Dude,
we're wearing or something, but
dude, I need a 3D background that's moving like yours. That's all
yeah,
I.
we'll get you hooked up. It's fairly simple to set up, and I'll show everybody how to do it. It's not that hard, but take that as kind of like, if you're sitting on the fence about starting anything, whether you're starting to get into real estate or you're starting to do something, whatever it may be, whether you're going to do it digital or not,
Yeah.
that's a fundamental rule that you can live by, which is just take imperfect action.
Yep.
Done is better than perfect.
Yep.
Um, and I have so many of my previous clients, even myself, and the things that I've done is because I've just taken the foot forward, even though something wasn't complete, and then kind of maybe building the plane as I'm falling out. I heard
Yeah.
that a lot too, right?
Yep.
Build the plane as you fall, right?
Yep.
Versus, oh, let me go build this plane. Let me take 6 months. Let me take a year. Let me take 2 years to build all this stuff and then launch, and then falls on deaf ears.
Yeah. Let me one thing comes to mind really quick. Out of all the hundreds of students you work with that built multiple six-figure digital online products, what separate that student from making a six-figure online product, killing it, to the one who didn't? Was it the product? Was it them? Was it their looks? Was it they were consistent? I mean, what did you see that really made that one person shine versus the person who didn't?
Yeah, if I had to pick out one unique trait to each of the most successful students that I've ever had, each of them are successful on different timelines. Some are successful within the first couple of weeks, some are successful in a couple months, in a year, right? But the ones that have always been successful have always been the ones that, again, they get something out there and it's not perfect.
Yep.
They are proactive, right? They just keep moving one step forward. They don't stop.
Yep.
They don't let one roadblock or barrier prevent them.
Mhm.
And it's not just proactive, it's resourceful.
Yep.
They're very resourceful. And what does resourceful mean? Resourceful not in terms of like, oh wow, I have access to tons of money, which is resources. Resourceful, which means is, if they hit a roadblock setting up their funnel, instead of waiting for me to come online and answer their questions, they went to YouTube, they went to Google, they
Right.
went and found the answer on their own,
Right.
and were able to overcome that hurdle, because it's a technical hurdle. It's something that
Yeah.
the internet has the information to, right?
Right.
If it's more strategic, if it's more copy or understanding numbers, sometimes they'd have to wait for me for those kind of things. But the students that are always successful are the ones that are being proactive and are very resourceful, right?
Mhm.
A lot of the stuff that we have, and again, this is even for real estate, and this is even my own journey,
Mhm.
is I have access to all the real estate information I need, and it's more or less of how resourceful can I be to
Mhm.
take the next step, to get the first contract under deal, how to script trace numbers, right? What do I say? Well, call a couple people. And so, um, yeah, the number one thing I would say that would stand people apart, building something online and being successful, is those two characters, which is being proactive and being
Yep.
resourceful.
And think about this, to touch on what you just said, is somebody had a problem, which was one of your students that they thought they needed you, but the one who was really resourceful went and YouTubed it. Well, they YouTubed a video that somebody recorded that now helped them out.
Yep.
That was now also how that video was in someone's social media home that
Mm-hmm.
got another view, potentially another following, right?
Yep.
Like, like it's crazy. Like that's a video that somebody probably recorded months, days, weeks, years ago. And
Yeah.
so it just goes to show, going back to it, just was so natural how that just came out. Like that's a video somebody did a while ago that helped somebody else. And that's why, like today with this podcast, that's the whole point of it. Like we want to be able to give value back to you guys and help you guys with
Yeah.
digital media, real estate, and collaborate. Right? Let's
Yeah.
collaborate. Right? If you're
Yeah,
watching this,
I want to change the focus a little bit on you, Javier, right? I mean, this is your show. I'm just a co-host here, and I do appreciate you diving in a bit on digital marketing. But let's talk a little bit about your initial entry into like real estate. Like, where did it all begin for you? Like, what was day one of like, wow, real estate this is the thing I'm going to do for remainder of my life, or at least for the
Yeah.
foreseeable future.
Yeah. So I'm going to touch on my childhood really quick, just do a quick little summary. And, born and raised in Miami. As a little boy, I grew up as a single mom, and, I always had this little entrepreneur spirit in myself, right? Like I would go out, and I remember like I lived behind a golf course, and I invested in a golf ball retriever, and I would go retrieve golf balls and resell them to a golf shop up the road who bought golf balls, and they would buy them for 15 cents a ball from me, excuse me. And at the time, that was a lot of money, you know? And I did that for a long time. I would get buckets of golf balls and resell them. And I was just a little kid that had that mindset. I wasn't the guy who wanted to sit inside and watch TV all day, or play on a computer, or, do, coloring crayons, right? And on coloring books. I was literally wanted to make money as a little kid. So I did that. I got the taste of money, but I would to make money, and I wouldn't spend it. I wouldn't say, "Hey mom, can you take me to the toy shop? Hey, can you go take me to buy candy?" I would take it, I would save it. I would take it and save it. I would hoard money. And then a few years later, I got it starting getting into car detailing, right? Business. And then after that, I got into lawn mowing, right? And so I had all these little businesses, not at the same time, but I had, you did one, got tired of that, did another business, but I was working for myself. I was making my own money. I wasn't having to go, work for someone, right? I was a young kid when I did this. And then I got into, my lawn business, and then I would get a bunch of different lawns, and I would sub out like raking job here. I'd hire this guy to do a raking job. Right. And so I kind of got to really understand money and how it worked, and the power of business, right. And being an entrepreneur. And I didn't know, no one really taught it to me. And so I went from Miami to Ocala, Florida. It was a little horse town. And I hated it there. I hated it there. It was a little town, and I started working. I never forget, my first job there was working at Winn-Dixie. I was making like $6.50, $7 an hour. Worked there for like 2 years, dropped out of high school at the time. I was like, nah, I can't do this. I knew school wasn't for me. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I had it in my blood. And then I started going working other jobs, 40-hour weeks here, 50-hour weeks there, making $12 an hour, making $15 an hour, $12 an hour, just kept repeating this whole cycle. And then I lived in Ocala for like 8 to 9 years. And I was like, man, I'm tired of this place. I need to change. I want to be able to, get better opportunities.